walk you through all the electric guitars in the song. First, I wanted to say I am using amplitube on every one of these guitar tracks, so I didn't actually mic any amps in this song, and I'm finding myself miking amps less and less just because there's so much good software out there, amp modeling software, and I feel like I can get a better sound just going direct in using some of this modeling software. There's a lot of great software out there to do this. I like Amplitube a lot because of the detail you can really go into. You can choose the head you want, if you want any pedals or rack mounted gear. You can choose the cab you want. You can change out the speakers in some of these cabinets. You can choose what mics you want on the cab. There's 2 room mics. You can choose the space you want it to sound like it was recorded in, and then they got a mixer down here so you can change the volume. Alright, so we're gonna start with the main distorted guitar. So I just have these 2 tracks being bused to this distorted guitar bus, and all I have on these is Amplitube. On this one I have Pro Q2, but it's not doing anything at the moment. It's actually being automated at a certain point in the song, but I'll show you that later. It's a little trick I have. So this is what it sounds like. So it's a really great tone, and these are just panned hard right and hard left. So I'll show you what plugins I have on the distorted guitar bus. So first of all, I have the SSL channel strip on there, and I have a high pass filter up to 100. Usually high pass my guitars up to about 100, and then I have a low pass filter at 12K. So anything below 100 on an electric guitar I find will just muddy up the song, so it's best to just roll all that off. I'm not doing really that much EQ on this. The only EQ move I have is with this band. The reason I don't EQ electric guitars that much is because if you start to overly EQ or overly process your electric guitars, it starts to sound phasy and kind of fake almost. So I find it's best to just start with a good guitar tone so you don't have to do that much tweaking when you're mixing. So these guitars just needed some more low end, so I added a boost at 200 Hertz. So I'll just take this out and show you the difference when I put the boost in. So it's not that big of a difference, it's pretty subtle. If my guitars do need some more bottom to them, I'll tend to look in between 100 or 200 Hertz. So the only other plugin I have on the distorted guitar bus is this multi-band compressor. And this is similar to what we did with the bass. We're just controlling the low end of the guitar. So this is just compressing between about 80 and 300 Hertz. And as you can see, I'll show you, it's not really reacting much. So we're not really getting too much compression there. But in other areas of the song, it was really important to control the low end, like when the guitar is palm muted. So I'll show you this spot. So it's always important to control these low buildups with any instrument. So a lot of times I do compress on the low end. I do this with bass, guitar, and even with vocals sometimes. So there's 2 other tracks here, Geet, back, up, left, and right. These are the same tones as the main guitars. I just needed to add these other parts and they needed to be a little quieter. So I just recorded them on separate tracks, but here's what they sound like. And these are going to the same distorted guitar bus as the main guitars are going to. What we're going to look at next is two lead guitar riffs, and this is kind of a pre-chorus part, and then this is the lead for the bridge. And these guitars have the same settings on them. The only difference is this one is panned hard left. So I'll show you what I did on these. So the amplitube program is adding some reverb and some delay. And then I'm also using the SSL channel on these, and I'm just using the high and low pass filter. I'm not doing any EQ on these. So with lead guitars, I like to bring my low pass filter up to about 8K and my high pass filter up a little higher than I do on rhythm guitars. I'll just show you why I do this kind of visually with Pro Q2. So with rhythm guitar, you might be using a lot of the spectrum here, but lead guitar, when you're only playing single notes, you're really not using as much of the full spectrum. So I like to get more of a direct signal by doing something like this, and then add a high cut here. Sorry. And then bring this to about 7 or 8K. So we're not really using a ton of this information that would muddy up the mix. So we're just kind of directing the signal and only using the specific frequencies inside here. So I will get rid of this Pro Q2 instance. And then the last plugin I'm using on both of these leads is the CLA 76 compressor, and I just have a medium attack, fast release. And with my rhythm guitars, I really don't like to compress them when they're distorted, but the lead guitars, I feel like sometimes they do need to be compressed a tiny bit. So let's see how much dB gain reduction we're getting. So not that much. As you can see, the signal here is already compressed, so we didn't need much compression. Now I'm going to show you this other lead riff. I'm going to play it with a song, the one that's panned, because I have a little trick here I like to use sometimes when you have two guitars on the same side. As you can see, the distorted left and then this guitar bridge lead are both panned hard left. Let me just show you this. And we're tangled up in life. I don't wanna be a fool, but I know I'm not the only one. I don't wanna see the truth, that you're better off with someone else. So maybe I should have muted the vocals, but when you have two guitars panned on the same side, so this rhythm guitar and this lead guitar are both on the left, and I wanted the lead riff to stick out more. I felt like the rhythm riff was kind of getting in its way, so instead of just turning the volume down on it, I automated some EQ. So I put an instance of Pro Q2 on there, and then I dipped out a little of the high end, so in between like 2K and 6K, which is the bite from the lead guitar. So I'll just show you this. So once this guitar comes in here, you see the plugin activated and you see it dipping out the high frequencies of this rhythm. And that's really only reacting in this part of the song. So if you ever have two instruments fighting for frequency space, maybe instead of turning the volume down on one, maybe try this trick. Try dipping out some of the important frequencies on one of the instruments to see if it makes a little space for the other instrument. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to download your free Ultimate Home Studio Mix Guide. I made this for you guys so you could start getting your mixes sounding better. There's a lot of great information in there, and be sure to reach out if you have any questions or if you need any help with your mixes. Thanks.